Yo, what's up, guys? We're back with another video today, and guys, recently we've had some big announcements for upcoming championship fights, like Bilal Muhammad versus JDM, Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez, and not technically announced, but it's basically confirmed that Pantoja and Kai Kara-France are gonna fight. When they're gonna fight, I don't know, but it's basically confirmed, guys. And with that, there's also some other announcements that are potentially being teased, like Merab O'Malley, all these other fights. And I thought I kind of wanted to give my own rankings for these up-and-coming championship fights. So I'm going to scale these from a 1 out of 10 and giving my reasons why some of these are at the bottom and why some of these are at the top. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so coming at the bottom of this list, we have Pantoja versus Kai Kara-France. Now, okay, if this was any other champion, like anyone besides Pantoja, this would actually be a pretty good fight. But the problem is, Pantoja is literally, like, out of all the champions in the division, he's probably the most unbeatable guy. Because, like, it's not the fact that he's the best fighter in the UFC. It's just the fact that his style and, like, his skill set is just so much better than most of these guys. For one, he has the best chin in the division. He has really good grappling. His pacing is really good, in my opinion. He always is pushing the pressure, and it's just the worst. It's the worst style for these flyweights, man. The only reason why, and also, that's, the main reason why this one's at the bottom. I will say, out of all the flyweights that they could have made, this is probably the best, because realistically, Kai Kara-France is probably the closest we can get to someone beating Pantoja right now. I don't see Brandon Moreno winning, Brendan Royval, Kaya Sakura, Steve Ercek, Manel Kape, maybe Taishura, but he lost his fight against Royval, so he needs to work on his, striking, all that. I think Kai Kara-France could potentially beat Pantoja, but I don't see that happening. I'll go with Pantoja by, submission, to be honest. Maybe, round 4 or 3 or something like that. If this was any other champion, like I said, if Pantoja was not the champion, let's say it was Brandon Royval or something like that, this would actually be a great matchup. But it's just the fact that Pantoja is just so unbeatable in that division that it's just I don't really care, to be honest. Alright, now coming after that, we have Merab Dvalishvili versus Sean O'Malley. Now, I will say, before anyone says anything, this is not confirmed. This is only because Dana White said that he's liking that matchup, he likes that matchup and all that stuff. So it's not 100% confirmed, but in my opinion, the ones that aren't confirmed, I'm going to put what I think is on there, and I think that this is going to be the next matchup for Merab. I'm not going to lie, when I first made my what's next for these fighters videos, and I had Merab versus O'Malley, I was more excited about it, but now that I've let the Merab fight soak in a little bit and take my time to process it all, I kind of don't really want to see O'Malley versus Merab, to be honest, because, even though I think O'Malley could do better than Umar did, I still think that he loses. I've come to more of the realization that Merab is low-key the best bantamweight in the world right now, and I just don't... I would love O'Malley to beat Merab, which is why I have this above Pantoja and Kai Kara-France, but still, it's it's just he looks stiff. He looked off in that first fight, don't get me wrong, but I still think even with a better version of O'Malley, he's still gonna lose to Merab. But maybe not, and if he does beat Merab, I'd be very happy, but I don't really see that happening, to be honest. And also, if this fight does happen, it should be Petr Yan, because Petr Yan has done more in the past year than what O'Malley's done in the past year. O'Malley beat Marlon Vera 50-45. It's Marlon Vera. He's not the best. And he lost to Merab. And then for Petr Yan, he beat Song Yadong, which is aged pretty decently, I'd say. And then he also beat Deiveson Figueiredo, a former world champion. So I'd say that's a pretty good reason that you should get a title shot. But, if they don't give it to him, I'm not going to complain too much. I like O'Malley, but again, it's just one of those things where the more I think about it, the more I'm yeah, O'Malley might lose this. But I'm not ruling out the idea that he can't win this at all. I think he has, out of all the guys in the division, even though I think Petr Yan should get it, I think that O'Malley has a better chance at winning it against Merab than Petr Yan does. Because, for one, O'Malley has KO power, whereas Peter Yan, he's got KO power, but he doesn't have it at the same scale as like O'Malley does. Like, you feel me? All right, now coming after that, we have Belal Muhammad versus JDM. I don't have anything really wrong with this fight. I'm a bit more excited about this than I would have been for Belal versus Shavkat, if I'm gonna be honest. I'm not really a Shavkat fan. I don't hate him or anything like that. He's very like skilled and all that stuff, and he's aura farming. He's an aura merchant. But I would have been more excited about that fight. But I like JDM more, so I'm much more excited about this one than I would have been with Shavkat. And do I think JDM's going to win? I don't know. I mean, he got grappled a lot by Gilbert Burns, but it's Gilbert Burns. I don't know. I think JDM can, like, if it's on the feet for the most part, JDM's going to knock out Belal. But I don't know, man. Like, I feel like this is going to be a Belal win, but I can see JDM winning this. This is similar to like Merab and O'Malley in my opinion, where I think Belal is going to win, but I can see JDM winning this. I just think that it's more likely that I think that JDM has a better chance of beating Belal than O'Malley does against Merab. And also, these are two of my favorite fighters in the division right now. I'm a Belal fan, I've told you guys this, but I'm also a JDM fan. I like JDM. I've kind of grown on him a lot recently. Ever since I made that like top 15 best striking video, I've come to like really like and appreciate JDM. His boxing is really good. He's an incredibly skilled fighter. And he's very serious when it comes to the cage. Like, no jokes, no nothing like that. That clip he had where the guy wanted to, like, touch gloves with him, and he's like, no, and then he KOs him. That's actually so funny. I can't stop laughing at that. But, I don't have anything wrong with this matchup. It's just, like, listen, I like Belal, but when you have him put up against any other fighter, I'm not that interested, if I'm gonna be honest. Like the most interested I was against him versus Leon. And I still am very excited for this fight. Do not get me wrong. Maybe when we get closer to this fight, I'll be more excited. But as of right now, I have it like a 7 out of 10 in my opinion. Alright, now coming above that, I have Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. Listen. You guys know this. If you guys see my old videos, you know that I think that Dricus du Plessis is going to destroy Khamzat. However, the more that I think about it, the more that I think Khamzat has a better chance. I think this is a very close fight now. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, well, Khamzat's like the best wrestler in the UFC right now, and if he can take down Dricus du Plessis, it's only if the question is, can DDP survive like the first round? That's really where all this is gonna go. If DDP can survive that first round, he's gonna win the fight. If Khamzat can take him down and submit him in the first round, he wins the fight. This is an unstoppable force versus plot armor right here. This is Khamzat Chimaev's like unstoppable aura versus Dricus du Plessis, like goofy plot armor and all that stuff. It's like, it's ridiculous. It's hilarious. And this is like one of the greatest, goofiest fights you can ever make in the UFC right now. I just said it before, but it's like, one of the most scariest fighters in the UFC right now versus a guy who like doesn't really coordinate his punches, doesn't do anything. He doesn't have any combination, no technique. It's the weirdest matchup ever I've seen, especially for a high level fight. And that's what makes it so exciting for me. Like, I could have this like maybe like above some other fights, but for right now, I'll give it like an 8 out of 10 right now. Alright, now coming off of that, we have something that was literally just announced like a couple days ago. I think it's about to be a week now. Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. This is going to be for UFC 314 as a main event for the featherweight belt. I am the biggest Volkanovski fan. Volkanovski is one of my favorite fighters, like, ever. He's, if not right now. Like, he's up there with Pereira, Charles Oliveira. Like, he's up there. And, my mental health is gonna like depend on whether or not he wins or loses. Okay, if he loses by like a split decision war, I'll be like, all right, like I'll live by it. But if he gets knocked out by Diego Lopez in like the first round, out cold, I'm quitting YouTube. No, I'm joking, but it's gonna be dark days for me, man. It was a dark day when he got KO'd by Islam. My day was completely ruined. And then I was so upset when he got KO'd by Topuria. I think that he's going to win this fight against Diego Lopez. It's just the fact that, like, Volkanovski's got to, like, make sure to not get caught. Because he has, for the last like 2 fights or like 3 fights now, you could count Islam, he's had to fight hard-hitting fighters. He got knocked out in his last 2 fights by 2 very dangerous, hard-hitting fighters. Not really Islam, but you get the point. I'm just saying that for the record. Diego Lopez, if I had to choose any other featherweight to be the champion besides Volkanovski, I'm alright with Diego Lopez. I like Diego Lopez. I just like Volkanovski a lot more, man. But overall, this is an excellent fight that the UFC made. Since the Poirier vacated the belt, this is an excellent fight. And this is close to like really up there, but I'll give it like an 8.5 out of 10. Alright, now we have a fight that's going to happen in less than 2 weeks. Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. Out of all these fights, even the ones that like aren't official, when this fight happens, my stress level, like my like pressure level, everything is gonna be off the charts when this fight happens, because I don't want Magomed Ankalaev to become champion. I don't like Magomed Ankalaev at all. I think he's boring. I think he has no personality. I don't think he's even a good trash talker. He's irritating, to be honest, when you see all of his posts on social media. I don't think it's really Ankalaev, but still, it's very irritating. And, like, if Pereira beats Ankalaev, I'm going to be... If Volkanovski loses, but Pereira wins, I'll be happy. I'll be happy, because, like, this would be my version of when Merab beat... Like, okay. If Pereira beats Ankalaev, I'm going to be the happiest person ever. Because, like, I think if Pereira beats Ankalaev, he's a guaranteed top 5 greatest of all time, in my opinion. He's very much close to there. I have him just below in my top 10, like, greatest of all time. But if he gets a win over Ankalaev, he's going in my top 10, guaranteed, in my opinion. And even though, like, I don't like Magomed Ankalaev, he is the most logical matchup to make. Like, I don't know why they gave Khalil Roundtree got a title shot for Alex Pereira when Magomed Ankalaev was right there. Even though I don't like Magomed Ankalaev, I have to say that he did deserve it by that point. And, you know, now that they are giving it to him, it's undoubtable. I'm leaning towards Alex Pereira. This is a close fight as well. This is a very close fight. I could see Ankalaev winning this, but I'm going to go with Alex Pereira, to be honest. I don't think Magomed's going to wrestle that much. And if he does, I think Pereira's going to be able to survive the takedowns. But overall, man, this is a really good matchup. This is very close to like a 50-50 matchup. I have this like maybe a 55-45 like percentage-wise. So I give this like a 9 out of 10, to be honest. This is a really good matchup. All right, now these last 2, they're not confirmed or like teased or anything like that. Well, they are teased, but like these are like fights that need to happen. I really hope these happen. And coming into like second place, we have Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. This is like the perfect retirement fight for Jon Jones, in my opinion. Him fighting Stipe Miocic, nobody cared. Nobody cared. The press conference was like everyone chanting Aspinall, Aspinall, Aspinall. The whole media, everyone was asking him, when are you going to fight Tom Aspinall? When are you going to fight Tom Aspinall? I've never seen a UFC event where the main event, like, people were more, like, curious about whether he's going to fight, like, his next opponent than the guy who was fighting during that night. I've never seen anything like that. Especially for, like, Jon Jones, who's, like, one of the biggest draws in UFC ever. Jon Jones does not fight Tom Aspinall. He is legitimately gonna duck. He is the undoubtable duck of the UFC. It's ridiculous. It pisses me off. But as far as this fight goes, it's very close though. Like, do not get me wrong. I think Tom Aspinall does beat Jon Jones just because he's way bigger than Jon Jones. He's like 265 and Jon Jones like 235. Tom Aspinall also has the very much KO threat, and he has good jiu-jitsu in my opinion. He has really good jiu-jitsu. He's a very bad matchup for Jon Jones, but this is one of the greatest fighters of all time. Like, let's not get that like distracted. Even though I think Jon Jones is ducking Tom Aspinall, this is legitimately one of, if not the greatest fighters of all time. He is one of the most skilled fighters. His fight IQ is insane. He has nasty kicks. Wrestling is insane. Striking not the best, but he uses his IQ to like make his striking look good, in my opinion. This is one of the toughest fights for both of them in their careers ever, in my opinion. And to be honest, if this fight doesn't get made, it's going to be really sad. But if it does get made, this is like an overall 10 out of 10 in my opinion. This needs to happen. Needs to happen. Please, Dana, make this happen. Give Jon Jones like 100 million if that's what it takes for him to fight Tom Aspinall. This needs to happen. All right, now coming into number one, it was pretty obvious what it was going to be. Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria. I've talked about it so many times by this point. I literally made a video about it recently. This is the fight to make. This is like, if Tom Aspinall and Jon Jones is the biggest fight you can make right now, Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria is the biggest fight you can make this decade. I'm very confident on that. This is Khabib versus Conor McGregor too, but at the same time it's not. These two are very different compared to like Khabib and Conor, even though the fans compare them to. And you have, this is a genuine 50-50 in my opinion. This is, in my opinion, the pound for pound versus pound for pound number 2 going at it to see who is the greatest fighter right now. And whoever wins this fight, in my opinion, they are a top 5, maybe like top 7 greatest of all time. They're around that range, regardless whoever wins this fight, because these guys in their last couple fights have been monsters. Ilia Topuria KO'd my boy Volkanovski and Max Holloway, whereas Islam has been Volkanovski twice, Charles Oliveira, and Dustin Poirier. And obviously, we can't forget the great Renato Moicano. I mean, that's just the greatest win you can ever have in your career, guys. Like, come on. This fight does seem to be more likely than Jones versus Aspinall, because it did seem like the UFC are going to try to make this at least at International Fight Week. It's the biggest fight you can make ever in this generation right now. It's the biggest fight you can ever make since like McGregor versus Khabib. It's rivaling up there when it comes to those fights. It's like, this is such a perfect matchup. This is better than like a 10 out of 10. This is 11 out of 10 in my opinion. This is like, if they were to make a price for 100, I would pay for it, because this is like one of the best fights you can make in this decade. But guys, that is me ranking all the up-and-coming championship fights. Some of them are confirmed and some of them aren't, but I still thought I'd rank them all, even though some of them aren't. Let me know what you guys thought about this video. Leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Peace!